And now we're moving on to Jordan, the Executive Director of the Young Professionals Chronic Disease Network. And the great thing about Jordan, which I think, is that she's a young person, but she's been involved in this space for a long time, so she has excellent knowledge to share with us. Please, Jordan, the question we would like Jordan to answer is, given the need for young change makers globally, how does YP-CDN work to create and advocate for better NCDs policies?
Thanks so much, Mary. Can you hear me, or do I need to be using it? Okay. Great. Well, I'm incredibly proud to be here today, standing in solidarity with all of you, the FMSA, the Commonwealth Youth Health Network, PLAN, Commonwealth Support for Development and Peace Network, Commonwealth, RTI International, and all other allies here in the room. As Marie mentioned, I'm from the Young Professionals Chronic Disease Network, and we exist to train, empower, connect, and mobilize the next generation of leaders, or as Oksana said, today's leaders, to impact the future of non-communicable diseases. And we focus on tackling the social injustices wreaked by NCDs. And with the limited time that I have here today, I want to focus on 3 concrete examples of the work we've done recently, and then sort of a call to action. So one is training. Our Next Gen Leaders program that we launched in September 2016 was to design with the belief that people most affected by certain NCD issues must be the authors of the solutions. And this has 2 components. One is to equip our grassroots city-based chapters with the skills to organize, conduct strategic and evidence-based advocacy, and lead on NCD issues. And the second is our Next Gen Fellows program. And this is more technical. It's a 1-year fellowship project that these fellows will undertake on NCD research, policy, or advocacy. And this was just launched about 2 weeks ago at our workshop in Kigali. And we have 6 fellows that will be working with RTI International in the US and Kenya, with the Clinton Health Access Initiative Cancer Program in Uganda and Ethiopia, and the East Africa NCD Alliance. And during this week workshop, we brought them together on intensive research training and to work hand in hand with their mentors from these institutions to develop projects. And so you can stay tuned to what will come out of that and future opportunities in that regard. Advocacy. So last October, two advocacy wins on our side. Our Kampala chapter in Uganda launched a Twitter campaign entitled #BunkerForMulago. And Mulago is the public hospital in Kampala. And the radiotherapy machine had broken down last April, and that was the only radiotherapy machine in the country. And so there is little attention and commitment to the issue. And so our team recognized this and really mobilized some more national attention to the issue, pressed for commitments by the Ministry of Health, and most recently, a few weeks ago, just got some commitments that these radiotherapy machines will be coming in, which is really exciting. Secondly, our Baltimore chapter in the US partnered up with the Maryland Citizens Health Initiative to play a critical role in a really big win. This past April, the Maryland General Assembly passed historic legislation that stops prescription drug price gouging of off-patent generic drugs in the US, and many of these are chronic disease medications. And that was the first state in the US to accomplish this feat and will serve as a model for the rest of the country. The third is policy engagement. So many of us have some sort of technical expertise, and we've petitioned the WHO model list of essential medicines, seeing some gaps in terms of NCD medicines, to add medicines, 9 different medicines for NCDs to that list. And this is really a guide that countries use when they determine their priority medicines within their countries, but also for drug donations and other international UN agencies when looking at medicines priorities. Bente mentioned Issue, who's part of our team, sits on the WHO Global Coordination Mechanism Working Group, and we have also connections within policy, sitting on task forces in Uganda and Kenya. And so those are examples that illustrate how young people can contribute to the NCD movement, and another being this global GCM community of practice on NCDs in the next generation, which I really hope to have active participation from all of you. And I want to take a step back, and when you look at the history of social movements, it is the next generation who are often leading it. And we partner with the wisdom of seniors and develop strategies, tools, roadmaps, challenge change and reconfigure pathways forward. And now we have a chance to extend that history in health on the silent epidemic of NCDs right here and right now with you. And we keep hearing this week that 2018 is a critical moment. And what are we going to do with it? Now, in our Next Gen Leaders Workshop in Deep Valley about 2 weeks ago, one thing we talked about was this difference between charity versus justice. And this is something I want to emphasize and I would like us to think more about within the NCD movement. Because I think we all want to achieve sustainable change within health systems within our lifetime. And so I think this is an important point to consider, where charity is asking, what is wrong and how can I help? Or what is justice? Justice is asking, why is it wrong and how can I change it? And that is about creating sustainable change. And I urge you to agitate for that systems change. I urge you to agitate for justice. And it's a long road. It requires tireless persistence. And we may not have a lot of financial resources behind our movement and behind what we want to do at both local, national, regional, and global levels. But we have other resources that we can turn into power. We have our feet, our hands, our heads, and our hearts. And I want to thank you for voting with your feet to be here today, and I look forward to building this movement.